Well, it's been over a year since my last video. Never mind the reintroduction, I'm just gonna jump right into it. If there's one group of people that I can't stand more than those low-life internet trolls or those annoying telemarketers that call me every now and then, it's definitely scammers. America's security has been raised to a very high level due to all the fraudulent activity, and not to mention the fact that the more people that are getting screwed out of their money, the more people become very distrusting of others. I'm going to share with you 3 incidents in which only one of them I lost a few dollars. The first incident was on eBay. I bought this PlayStation 2 game and I sent the money for the item, which was around $40. I waited 2 weeks, no item. I tried contacting the seller, no response. Then after long enough I decided to report the person to eBay. That didn't do anything because I got an error message that said that my report could not be processed because I was never in transaction with that person. I don't know how that happened. I won an auction off there and sent the money, and now they wanted to tell me that the sale never took place? So basically, I lost around $40 and never got my item. I took a look at the person's feedback page. The whole first page had nothing but negative feedback. Basically from people who this guy supposedly ripped off. I never did get my item, so I ended up having to buy it from an actual store. The second incident was when I placed an ad on Craigslist for a babysitter position. You might be thinking, why would you want to watch someone else's kids? I don't know. Maybe it's because before I got back on with Worlds of Fun, I'd been unemployed for so long, having zero luck finding a new job, and it continued for 2.5 years. I put on the bottom of the ad that if they didn't live within a 50-mile radius of Pleasant Hill, Missouri, that they shouldn't bother applying. Sure enough, I got lots of replies. But they were all scammers, of course. I knew they were scammers because, for one, their English was way off. 2, they leave long emails. 3, they won't give you straight answers to your questions, but they just keep stringing you along. 4, they never call you on the phone. And 5, the biggest red flag, they're not willing to meet you in person. They just keep demanding you give them your information. So now here's the story of how I almost got screwed out of a couple $1,000s. I had this guy who claimed to be from New Zealand, and he said he was coming to America on a business trip with his so-called daughter. He left me a mile-long email saying this and that. I was actually going along with it for a while. It's kind of hard to remember all the details since it's been a couple of years, but anyway, he's gonna sit there and tell me that he didn't have time to answer my questions, yet he had time to leave a humongoid giant email. I finally gave him my info and he sent me this check through FedEx and some instructions on what to do with it. Some in which included wire most of it back to him so he can get a plane ticket. As I read the instructions he sent, his English was so terrible and what he said was so awkward that when I got to the bank, I told them about it, and when they read what the guy sent me, the gal behind the counter went back to the manager and they came out and said I might want to take it to the police because it might be fraud. Sure enough, I did. When I spoke with the authorities about it, they said, take it home, tear it up, throw it in the trash. You've been scammed. So I took it home and put it through the shredder. Next thing I get back on Yahoo where we were emailing each other. Not sure if I remember what I wrote word for word, but just bear with me here. It went something like this. Quote, my suspicions were confirmed. You, sir, are a con artist. You sent me a fraudulent check. I can't do anything with it. How do I know it's fraud? Because I took it up to the bank and they told me to take it to the authorities. The police told me it was fraud. I don't like being ripped off. I bet you don't even really have a daughter, do you? I will not do business with you ever again, and just for the record, since you have my information, if you set 1 foot on my property, I will have you arrested and thrown in jail. I wondered why you weren't really answering my questions. End quote. And that was pretty much the end of that. In the end, I just ended up taking the ad down altogether, cause what good does it do you if your ad only attracts scammers? Oh, and now for the third incident, and this one still pisses me off to this day, because it explains how me and my mom ended up being forced to live with my dad's house. This also happened during my lengthy unemployment. My mom meets this guy off Facebook. He claimed to be rich because he sold artwork. My mom and I actually bought his story. Well, she did before I did. I don't know how long she was talking to that guy before she told me about him. She said he would buy her a house and put me to work selling his artwork with him. Seemed like a great offer. So my mom puts our house up for sale, eventually sells it to this blonde-haired gold digger. She wasn't very friendly and her son was a devil come to life. She actually wanted my mom to fix everything that was wrong with the house and pay for it too. As if the bitch couldn't have done it herself. Later on, we moved into my sister's apartment, which was some of the worst 3 months of my life because my sister has quite a mouth on her. After we were in her apartment, my mom continues talking to the guy who promised us all that stuff. One day, I couldn't sleep at all because I was in pain. Went to the doctor and ended up having my appendix removed. The same day that guy was supposed to meet my mom at KCI Airport, she was there for 3 hours and the guy never showed up. It was then that I lost all my respect and trust for that guy. Prior to my surgery, he made up all these stories about his son getting hurt, and another one about him getting into an accident, then arrested. Very easily fooled my mom into sending him money because these stories were all bullshit. My mom is one of those very gullible people. She believes almost everything she's told. After the guy admitted to lying to her about everything, I told her over and over to get rid of him. Then she kept talking to him because she wanted him to know how she felt. I told her, "Mom, scammers have no conscience. He doesn't care how you feel." My dad ended up getting his own place while we still lived with my sister. A month had passed, then the landlord wasn't quite buying my story anymore about us just visiting the place. Not to mention they had a couple Nazi neighbors. The kind of people who are so self-righteous they rat you out if you do one thing they don't like. So we ended up with two choices. Move in with my dad or being homeless because no one else would take us in. So in October of 2013, we were forced to live with my dad. My mom pretty much burned all the money she got out of the house on the repairs and giving the rest to that scammer. Over the course of time living with my dad, my mom was still talking to that guy. Still letting him know how she felt. I badly wanted to take her phone and slap her across the face with it, if it would knock some sense into her, because it was as if she didn't learn anything from this experience. It really pissed me off, because she was taking the whole thing so lightly. So here we are, forced to live with my narcissistic father, because we sold our house and she gave over half the money to that scammer, and here she was sitting there acting as if it wasn't that big of a deal. I will quickly say it since we've ended up in this situation. My mom is an idiot. She's made tons of bad decisions as long as I've been alive, but this one tops them all. Overall, this is exactly why there's no trust out there anymore. This scamming thing has gotten way out of hand ever since 9/11. It's like you can't even really find a legit person to do business with anymore, because nowadays, you never know if you're being taken for a ride. To all you scammers out there who are watching this and laughing, know this. A day's gonna come to where none of you are gonna be laughing anymore. You're gonna wake up burning in hell. How so? Well, what are you doing when you scam people? You basically take their money and run. That falls under the commandment, "Thou shalt not steal." You will one day give an account for all those people you took advantage of. There's only one question you should consider when you're standing before God and He asks you why you ripped all those people off. What will you say to Him? Judgment Day's coming, and everyone will have to answer to the Almighty on that day. It doesn't matter if you believe in Him or not, you will face Him either way. Bottom line is, scammers will not be laughing in the end.